know, for Harvest Fair, we are also going to be not just only selling Spam musubi. We're having Tario Pimentos. We're going to be selling it for $5, I believe it is. And yeah, and it's going to be a real blessing. That's below cost. You know, and so we're going to be able to chow down and just enjoy. Well, I'd like to pray as we start this portion as I share this section. Well, yeah, just join me in prayer. Father, I just thank you for this time. And Lord, I pray that you'd fill me with your Holy Spirit and that you'd use me to share your word here this morning. And we just thank you for this time. Use it to instruct us, and that you may be glorified through it all. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. You know, many of you have heard, as I mentioned in the beginning, and have been asking about Justice Kawakami. You know, on Tuesday he was hit by a truck, and we're going to have Sean and Izumi share with us in just a few minutes about everything that went on. But you know, he's doing fine. It really is quite a miracle that what happened to him, and he came out with really barely any sign of anything actually happening. But I thought that this would be a good time, and I had some thoughts, and Claudia mentioned something to me, and I thought this is actually really good. It's a good time to talk about something that we think about, we often make reference to, but we very rarely talk about it, and that's the subject of angels. I believe in angels watching over justice, without a doubt. And you know, I think the majority of us believe in angels, but unless you've really studied it, you probably have some misperceptions about angels. You know, angels are all around us. I believe that, and they affect our lives daily. But again, I think that there's a lot of misunderstanding. I heard the story about this woman who was walking down the street one day. When she heard this voice yell, "Stop! Stop! If you take one more step, you're going to be killed." So she stopped. And then, literally a second later, a brick fell down and landed in her path. She was shaken, but she said, okay. She composed herself, began walking again, and she was about to cross the street. And again, she heard this voice that says, "Don't cross the street now." And a moment later, an out-of-control truck just came around the corner and just missed her because it ran a red light. So this time the lady, the woman, was obviously shaken. She was kind of wondering what in the world was happening. So she yelled out, "Who are you?" The voice replied, "I'm your guardian angel." So the woman said, well, if you're my guardian angel, you got some explaining. And so the angel said, okay, well, what do you want to know? So she said, well, first of all, where were you on my wedding day? I hope none of you actually thought that. You know, a lot of times when we think about angels, we get our perceptions of angels from television shows or movies. Remember that famous show, Touch My Angel? Yeah. And so, many of us thought an angel had a British accent or something like that. Or how about, remember the old movie, long time ago, Angels in the Outfield? Do you guys remember that one? Yeah. And so what did we think? How do we summon angels? We got to flap our times, like that. We have these things that we think about, or many of us have probably watched It's a Wonderful Life. How many of you guys watch It's a Wonderful Life during Christmas? Yeah. I never get tired of it. It actually was considered a flop in the beginning. But as it actually, through some work, it lost its licensing, so they started showing it for free. They could play it during Christmas, and it caught on, and it became literally one of the best loved Christmas movies of all time. It's a Wonderful Life, there was an angel named what? You guys remember? Clarence. I knew Angie would know that. I knew she would know that. And Clarence was an angel who was trying to what? Get his wings, right? And so we sometimes think that angels get their wings when? Or how do you know when an angel gets their wings? When you hear a bell ring, right? And so these are some of the thoughts that we have about angels, or we think about, like when we look at little pictures or greeting cards, and we see this little chubby baby, bald baby with these wings on them, and we think that that's what angels are, right? But that's not what the Bible says. There's also even a misconception or a common belief, I would say, that when one of your relatives or one of your loved one dies, what do we often say? They go to heaven and they become an angel. Or, they're even your guardian angel. And, we say that, don't worry, so-and-so is going to be watching over you, they're going to be your angel. And I understand that sounds comforting, but it's really not biblical. Not biblical at all. If your loved one knows Jesus, and we will see them again in heaven, that part is true. They will be a guardian angel watching over you. And I was just thinking about, my dad passed away, and I don't know if I would want him having free access pass to watch over me 24/7 in everything that I do. That sounds kind of weird, doesn't it? Having somebody like that watching over you all the time. But the Bible does talk about angels. They talk about angels are God's servants. And they are supernatural beings that are created by God and for God's glory. Just trying to work this way. And they do God's work. Hebrews 1:14 says, what role then do angels have? Angels are spirit messengers sent by God to serve those who are going to be saved. There are angels sitting in this room right now, I believe. But we may not necessarily perceive them. Because they're in a different spirit realm. They're in a different world. I like movies, and remember the movie The Matrix? How many of you guys have seen The Matrix? Well, you guys gotta get on more often, man. I tell you. It's now an old movie. Came out in the 90s. Keanu Reeves. But I thought it was a real good illustration to the world that we live in. We perceive one thing, but there's something else that's really going on. There's a spirit realm that's going on that we really don't see, or we don't perceive, is probably the best way of saying it. Look around. Anybody see angels? I don't know if you guys remember. This is many years ago. And I think it was actually Cameron many years ago. She was a lot younger. She came running in, and she's pointed toward the center. And she goes, "Who's that big man over there?" And everybody's like, "What are you talking about?" And then Ryan Sineski used to play our saxophone, remember? His son came running in and told his dad, "Who's that giant man standing and pointing in the same place that Cameron had pointed to?" See, there are angels here that are here to minister that we don't see, we don't perceive. The Bible's full of examples like that. In Genesis 18 and 19, they talk about angels that come, and some become very, very visible, actually. In Hebrews 13:2, it says, "Do not forget to show hospitality to strangers, for by doing so, some people have shown hospitality to angels without knowing it." So they're around. So I'm going to talk briefly about angels, and then I'm going to have the Kawanis come up and share. Now, angels, as you know, are spiritual beings, but who are angels? What are some of the things that they actually do? And I want to discuss it. First of all, angels are worshipers. Again in the Bible, there are examples. You find angels worshiping God, worshiping Jesus. In Hebrews 1:6, it says, when God brings his firstborn son into the world, he says, "Let all God's angels worship him." Angels worship God and they worship Jesus. Revelation 5:11 and 12 says, "Then I looked again, and I heard the voice of thousands and millions of angels around the throne of the living beings and the elders, and they sang a mighty chorus, 'Worthy is the Lamb who was slain to receive power and riches and wisdom and strength and honor and glory and blessing.'" Angels part of their job is they worship God. They're encamped around his throne 24/7 singing praise and adoration and worship. Not only that, but not only are they worshipers, but angels are warriors. They're warriors. There's a great story in 2 Kings 6 that talks about, this is about Elisha. And it's a story about how there was a time, during that time, in the Middle East, the most powerful king was the king of Aram. And the king of Aram was at war with Israel. And he was trying to take over the country. And in this story, what happened was he'd make plans, but God would reveal it to Elisha. So every time the king would try and attack, Israel was actually one step ahead of him, because Elisha knew what was going on. And so the king got really, really upset. He was trying to, who's leaking information about what we're going to be doing? So he thought there was a traitor in his midst, when actually Elisha was getting words from the Lord. And so they said, there's really nobody leaking information. It's all about Elisha. Elisha's the one who's causing problems. So needless to say, the king was unhappy, and what he wanted to do was go out and wanted to kill Elisha. So he sent his army to go out and kill him. Well, they found out where he was at, and it was just Elisha and his servant. And so the army came around, and they were gonna try and come in and kill Elisha. So what happened was the servant got wind of it, and he got up early, and he saw horses and everybody surrounding him. So the servant ran to Elisha and said, the army is here and they're going to be here to kill us. And Elisha goes, basically, don't worry. We're not going to die. And, even though the city's surrounded, we got it. And so, you think about it, if you were the servant, you could think, what are you talking about? All we got going for us right now are you and me. And so, Elisha prayed this prayer. He said, open his eyes, Lord, that he may see. And it says, then the Lord opened the servant's eyes, and he looked and saw the hills full of horses and chariots of fire all around Elisha. He prayed that, and the servant could see, and the armies could see that they were surrounded by the servants of God, his angels. And they were there to protect Elisha. They were there to do war on his behalf. Angels are warriors. They're worshipers, they're warriors, but also, as you know, they're messengers. The word angel means sent one. It means messenger. And story after story, the Bible talks about how angels come and deliver a message to God's people. And it's not something that just happened in, the biblical times, because we hear stories of how, like for example, God sent a message to Daniel or to Mary. An angel came and told Mary, he gave her a message that she was going to be with child. And she was going to have Jesus. Right? And there's story after story. There's Gideon, there's Jacob, there's Hagar. There's so many that angels appeared and delivered messages to them. But it's something that not just happened back then, it happens today. In fact, I remember this time when Pastor Kelchinan and Montalbar in the Missionary Church, he was at New Life Church in town, and they were in the sanctuary, and literally they sensed a dying angel, and he gave a message about really what was to be the start of Transformation Hawaii. Transform Hawaii and the impact that Hawaii was going to have in literally discipling nations. And so, and by the way, that did actually take place, and it's still continuing to take place. And that's part of Transform Hawaii was birthed because of the message that Pastor Cal got from an angel. So that's kind of about, who they are, but they also do more specific things. Like, for example, angels also give you direction. They give you instruction. Angels can guide you and direct you. Now, the reason why I'm also talking about this is because I think a lot of times we have angels waiting around to be able to assist us, but we need to activate them. We need to pray and ask God to release them to do certain things for us, to help us out. But they give us direction. Yes, an angel came to give Mary a message, but the angel also came and gave Joseph instructions. Right? Because when Joseph first found out that Mary was pregnant, what did he want to do? He wanted to slowly, basically, kind of release her, divorce her, so to speak, in a quiet way. He wanted to, but then an angel appeared and told Joseph, don't do that. And you probably think about it, it's easy for him to have been upset. Right? It's like, okay, you're going to be married to this woman, and all of a sudden you find out she's pregnant. It's like, dang. I mean, if that was you, what would you have done? Now, Joseph had said he was an honorable man, and so he wanted to do it quietly. But an angel came came again and gave them even further instruction, because after Jesus was born, Herod wanted to kill all the babies because he was afraid of the prophecy that Jesus was going to be king. And so he killed all the boys under 2 years of age. But what happened was an angel came and instructed Joseph to take Mary and Jesus and go to where they went to Egypt. So there's instruction that takes place. In the Old Testament, we even have stories about, remember Balaam? Or some people pronounce it Balaam. Balaam's donkey. Balaam wanted to do one thing, and he told him, he made his donkey go one way, but an angel stopped. Now Balaam didn't see the donkey, didn't see the angel, but the donkey did. And he got really mad at the donkey at first. But thank God that the donkey saw the angel and redirected them not to go in that direction. Eventually Balaam did see the angel, and he was able to be redirected. So they direct, but also angels protect. They protect. And I think in a perfect example of what happened to Justice. And so I'd like to call up Sean and Izumi to share about what went on, and you can get all the details from them. I think about it. An angel wasn't there, and I believe it was an angel. Things could have been definitely different, and we would not be here celebrating. But why don't you guys share a little bit about everything?
Okay, so it's great that we have this opportunity. Otherwise, we'd be sharing the story like 100 times. So just in brief, to give a summary of what happened. It was about 4:20 in the afternoon. We had just gotten to our Jiu-Jitsu Academy in Wahiwa. It's somewhere where we spend Monday through Friday every afternoon and evening. So we're super familiar, comfortable, right? And that's where a lot of accidents happen, is when you're just somewhere comfortable, because you let your guard down. And we've told Justice so many times, look both ways before you cross the parking lot. Don't run, make sure you look for cars. But for some reason that day, he just ran. And I was still in the car. The girls were behind him, walking towards the gym. And then I heard a screech and yelling. And I knew it was Justice, and so I ran from my car. I didn't see it happen. Faith saw it happen. Faith dropped her things, tried to reach him because she could see the truck coming. It was a pickup truck, older 94 Toyota. And she didn't reach him in time, which actually was a blessing, because she would have also been injured. So it was really God that she didn't reach him. One of my friends made it to Justice before I did, and the timing of it all is a blessing, because we have 2 kids classes at our gym, a beginners and an advanced. The beginners class was about to finish, so all the parents were around. They usually hang out anyway because they're younger kids, so they don't just drop off, leave, and then come to pick up. They stay for the class and everything. So as soon as the truck hit Justice, there was a crowd of people. Whereas if it happened 30 minutes later, it'd be like nobody. Because all the other kids, their parents just leave. So it was really a blessing, the timing of the accident too. But when I got to him, my friend was holding him still and yelling at the driver. The driver got out of his truck and was, blaming Justice, he ran out. He shouldn't be running in the parking lot. We're you were going 20 miles in a parking lot where it says 5 miles per hour, So all the parents were kind of not attacking him, but you shouldn't be driving so fast in the parking lot. There's kids around. There's kids here. Anyway, of the dads called 911, and because of our location, if you know where the Wahiwa DMV is, our gym is right next door. So the police were there in like 30 seconds. Like we could hear their sirens turn on in the lot over because they're right next door. And then so they made it really quick, and the Wahiwa General is like right down the street. So the ambulance made it in like 1-2 minutes. So it was really quick, the response time. And so the ambulance came. They put a seat collar on Justice. Matt, you can throw up that first picture. I have pictures because I know you guys are all curious to see like exactly what happened. So this is Justice in the ambulance. It was the first time either of us have been in an ambulance or on a gurney. So that you can see he has a seat collar on because they weren't sure what kind of injuries he sustained. I will say though that even if the guy was speeding through the parking lot, I think he braked in time that the impact wasn't as harsh as it could have been. So I think he saw Justice run, but he was going so fast he had to brake. He skid because there were skid marks on the ground. My friend took pictures of the asphalt, and then he hit Justice. So it was a cushioned impact. Does that make sense? So he didn't necessarily like fly like 6 feet. I think he only got knocked over like a couple feet. So he got hit on his left side. I think there's another picture, Matt. Try go to the next one. Can't remember what pictures I submitted. So he had abrasions on his forehead and on his cheek and his shoulder. This is now in the hospital. The ambulance took us to Kapiolani at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, so that was fun. But yeah, he got impacted on his left side, and then he landed on his right side, which is what my friend witnessed and saw happen. So it matched up with his injuries. So he just had like a scrape on his right knee, a couple asphalt cuts on his hand, and then he just kind of has like cuts across his forehead. But we made it to Kapiolani. My friend called Sean, and he was still at Hickam. So he left Hickam and to meet us at Kapiolani. I actually saw him on the freeway as the ambulance was zooming through. I saw his car. I was like, oh, there's my husband. So he made it right after us, which was great timing. And then next picture, Matt. And then so in the hospital, they did an ultrasound of his organs just to make sure nothing was bleeding internally. They were able to do like a neurological, like follow, checking his pupils, his tracking, asking him questions, and then raising his hand just to make sure nothing was broken in there, and everything was fine. And then he wasn't so bad that they felt like he needed a CT. So they said, we don't need to do a CT, but we want to admit him just for overnight observation. So we got a room. He didn't need surgery. He could finally eat. He was super happy. Next picture. So he ate a lot, which was a good sign. Oh, just kidding. Yeah, that's the nurse checking him, his vitals. Next picture. I think it's the next one. It's a great picture. That's the one. So, he ate, and if Justice eats, he's fine. But, like through the night, he slept through the night, through all the nurse visits to check his vitals. And he woke up the next morning. He didn't complain about pain, so he didn't need any Tylenol or Motrin. He still hasn't had any pain meds. We've just basically used over-the-counter bacitracin. That's all we needed. No medications, no nothing. And so we stayed, and then we were able to go home the next day. By the time we got discharged, it was like 11. But just really a blessing in the worst case scenario. Like in the worst possible thing for a parent to go through. And I was telling my friend who owns the gym, I told her, I wish it didn't happen, but if it had to happen, I'm glad it happened to us, because we're one of the core families. Like, I help teach classes there, so I'm one of the coaches, so I'm glad it was us and not a new family who just started coming, or even a family who's been coming for a while, but it's just a student. I'm glad it was us, because everyone knows Justice, because he's always there. The kids always play with him. All the parents know him. and it served several purposes, this accident. One, all the kids now know to please make sure you check before you cross, and it's also brought awareness to the other tenants in the industrial area to really be cautious when they drive that way. We've noticed that some people drive on the further side, that's not our end. They come and they go all the way around the lot instead of putting in front of our unit. And then also, I didn't know if I wanted to share this, but I will, because the driver was an older gentleman, he was 64, and was not licensed. And the police found out that there was a warrant out for him, so they were able to arrest him. I don't know what happened to him after that, but if anything, justice was served. And my friend was like, justice was served to that guy. I was like, oh yeah. She's like, he got his justice. I was like, wow. I didn't even think about that. But my friends who are not Christians have said, you should sue him, you should file a civil suit and all this stuff. And even we've had cop friends tell us to call the insurance company of the truck's insurance company and just let them know that this happened. And even that, I was like, he's fine. I don't feel like I need to call. But I really just, pray for that guy, because I don't know what he's going through. I don't know why he didn't have a license. I don't know what's going on in his life, but I'm just glad that he doesn't have a toddler death on his chest. You know what I mean? I'm glad that it was so minor, but still hopefully a wake-up call for him that he needs to get his life together. So, everything just really worked out. And the miracle of it is that not only did Justice walk away with only scratches, no broken bones, no concussion, no internal bleeding, neurologically fine, but he doesn't have any bruising. And that to me, I think, is the ultimate, how did that happen? You get hit by a truck, you fall, and you don't have bruises. He literally only has cuts. It looks like he just fell off his bike on the sidewalk or something. And I need 2 door frames and I get bruises. I don't even get scratched and I get bruises. So it's really just a miracle how God protected him. And he's here, he's up in Sunday school. He is a little sensitive to the whole situation, of course. But if you look at him, you'll see that a lot of his scrapes are already gone. There's healing going on. His scabs are already falling off, and this only happened on Tuesday afternoon. So it's really amazing just how God has really protected him and us. Because as parents, that's never something you want to go through, to see your child get hit by a truck. So we're just thankful that you guys were all so on it with the prayers. I sent that text out with one of the pictures, and then 10 minutes later I was getting tons of text messages. So I was like, oh my gosh. So thank you so much just for your prayers. We are doing okay. We're just very, very thankful. But now that I've hogged the mic, you want to say anything?
So I asked Izumi to go first because she was there on site. I was at work. So one of the coaches, the head coaches that owns the gym, called me, and of course, she never calls me. She usually text messages me. So when I got her call, I thought, wow, this is strange. She never calls me. So I picked it up, and then she said, Sean, where are you right now? And I said, oh, I'm still at work. And so I thought she was going to talk to me about class because I help coach the class as well. And she said, well, I just want to let you know Justice got hit by a car just now, by a truck. And so I just had to pause, and I was like, what? Just kind of speechless, And me with all my emergency management training and active shooter training and everything, I was going through my checklist, okay, what do I need to do? Is he okay? Is he conscious? Asking these questions to kind of get a picture of what the scenario was. And then I was going to drive down to Wahiwa because that's where the ambulance was headed. But as I was leaving base, I heard that they were redirected to Kapiolani, so I started driving that direction, and I called my mom as well to let her know, and she just blasted it out to everybody that we know on the Mauna Loa Garden side. So Pastor Cal and Pastor Ron And so I guess I felt secure that he was conscious, he was responsive. So that was a good sign, a very good sign. So throughout this whole ordeal, just continuing to pray, but have that steadfast kind of assurance, that he was going to be okay. There was still that uncertainty and, of course, that fear of, man, this is major. But Pastor Daryl came to meet us at the hospital, as well as Auntie Iris founder, and my mom and stepdad. And, Pastor Daryl shared that on his way there, he was praying and just asking the Lord, is Justice going to be okay? And he just felt a peace about it. And, yes, he'll be okay. And then a friend of mine texted me like a couple days later and asked me, are you upset? Are you angry at the driver that hit Justice? And as I was kind of reflecting on that, I just told him, no, honestly, that didn't even cross my mind. It wasn't something that I was thinking about at all. And I feel like the Lord's grace was upon this whole situation, just looking back on it as well. And when I got to the hospital, I parked in the parking lot, rushed to the ER, and then when I walked in the room, there was some doctors and nurses. Izumi was there. And then this was kind of shocking to me because Justice was coherent, and he kind of looked up at me when I walked in, and I said, "Hey, buddy, how are you doing?" And he's like, "Oh," and he groans, and he says, "I don't want Daddy here." And so I was like, oh, like it's a stab in the heart, and all the doctors and nurses are there and thinking like, what, do you hit your kid or something? Like, why does anyone want you here? And so that was kind of a, sad moment for me as a father, and I was kind of dealing with that, throughout the week as well, but just staying there for him, holding his hand and encouraging him, and just kind of loving him at where he's at, because I don't know the reason why he didn't want me there, but I was able to, tuck him in last night, and we're just talking, just laying on the bed together, and I was like, Justice, can I talk to you about something? And I asked him, why did you not want me there? And when my mom came as well, he's like, I don't want Nana here, and Pastor Daryl too. I mean, everyone. He just rejected everybody. And so, yeah, he just wanted mommy. So I was like, why didn't you want anyone there? Why didn't you want me there? And he said, well, it's because my injuries, because my owies and everything. I didn't want you to see my owies. And I think part of that was that fear that I was going to scold him for running across the street, And I feel like God just brought this to mind with Adam and Eve. When they made a mistake, when they sinned, first thing was to try to cover their nakedness, right? Cover themselves and hide from God. And I feel like this is a teachable moment where Justice knew that he did something wrong, and he wanted to hide that from me as his father, but extending the love of Jesus to him and just caring about his safety first, And so I was able to talk with him and, really get the truth from what he was dealing with, because he's not able to speak it out. So thank you so much for your love and support. If you do see him running around and stuff, just know that he might not be so warm as far as wanting a hug or acknowledging that he's okay. We tried to role play yesterday. It's like, Justice, okay, we're gonna go to church tomorrow. People ask you, Justice, I was praying for you. How are you doing today? And we trained him to say, okay, like look at people's eyes and say thank you, because he usually just runs away or hides, right? And so we wanted to kind of prepare him for, church today. But thank you so much for your support.
Thank you. Let's give him a hand. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. That was so funny. When I went in and got to the emergency, went into the trauma room, and walked into the room, and Justice looked up. Oh, I don't want him in here. And then he goes, "Oh, don't feel bad. He doesn't want John in there either. So I was like, okay. So we turn around and walk out. I think he was just embarrassed. I mean, in some ways that was good because it's like, you know, he wasn't hurt. So that was a real praise. I'm really amazed because it was such a God thing. It really, really was. Angels are real. You know, I can tell you so many stories that I've actually heard about angels protecting, and I'm sure that you folks have heard stories too. And I've been thinking about a couple, and I just want to close with that. That God is able. I don't understand it. I don't have a theological reason of why God isn't there, you know, or why angels aren't protecting everybody. But I do know that they are there. And you know, I remember a story of, you know, many years ago, Campus Crusade for Christ used to go around and show this thing called the Jesus film. Maybe some of you have seen it. And so they would go to remote villages and show the movie. And it was literally filmed that time. It was not, you know, DVD, it wasn't projectors, it was literal, you know, film that they used to have. And there was a report back from, I think it was in Thailand, if I'm not mistaken. And they showed the film in this one area. And what happened was, and what's usually the response, you know, a lot of people give their lives to Christ. Well, just so happened, in terms of follow-up, after they showed the film, people gave their lives to Christ, they do follow-up and they talk to people. Well, there were these boys, young men, who gave their lives to Christ. And they began to recount this story about it. They go, you know, we were going to come and steal all the equipment, the generators and the projector and everything like that. Because it was, I guess, near this, it was unprotected by this building, or, I mean, it was sitting outside. And so they said, the boys said that they were running over to steal all this stuff. And then they said they were confronted with these two big guys with these blazing swords. And they ran around the building and they tried to steal it from the other side. And there were these other two guys with these blazing swords. And so they asked, who were these guys who were guarding the equipment? And then the people showing the film were saying there wasn't anybody. That they were angels watching over the equipment because God wanted that film to be shown. Another friend of mine, I remember, he was actually, and I might have shared this, he was traveling and he went with his family because he used to travel all around the world and speak. I met him when I was in seminary. His name is Johan. Johan was telling me about going to Brazil, and he was with his family. And if you know anything about Brazil, there are gangs. I mean, there's a lot of crime that happens in Brazil. And if you're under 18, you don't get tried really, I believe, as adults. I don't know. The laws have changed. And so a lot of the youth used to run wild. Well, Johan was in Rio, and he was walking along the beach with his family, and he saw a group of these gang members coming to confront him. And so what he did was he told his family to start heading off in the other direction. I guess he was going to try and stop them because he heard of a lot of robberies, and unfortunately his wife and his daughter, they were all carrying jewelry and everything like that, and he knew that they were going to be robbed. Well, the family began to take off in another direction, and the gang caught up with my friend, and basically were going to rob him, or tried to rob him. And So one of the youth pulled out a knife. He said it was probably about like this. And lunged at him and stabbed him in the chest. And he fell to the ground. And according to his daughter, who was watching from a little bit of a distance, she said, I saw that knife plunge into your chest. My friend, he fell to the ground. The youth took off. And he's like this. Because he felt the knife hit him. But there was nothing. It's literally, he said, I really felt like an angel put his hand there. And the knife bounced off his hand. And according to the daughter, she said, I saw a knife plunge into your chest. But he thought, okay, I got stabbed. I'm going to hear bleeding. And all of a sudden it's like, I don't have any pain. There's no blood. And he literally walked out. I got up and told him it's skating. Angels are amazing. And they're there. And they protect us. There's more I could share. They minister to us in different types of ways. Just like how angels were sent to minister to Jesus when he was in the wilderness, when he was fasting. There's so many things that I could talk to you more about angels, but the one thing I wanted to kind of focus in on is I'm so thankful that an angel, I really believe, protected justice. And we are here to talk about this and not here to mourn because he might have been in the hospital. I'm just so thankful that the Lord is real. His angels are real. And I think we need to access them more. And so, I mean, we don't worship angels. I want to make sure we clarify that. But I believe they are there sent by God to help minister to us, protect us, to direct us. And so we can ask for those things too. But, I want to close in prayer and just really take this time to thank the Lord for his angels and for his protection, for justice. And so as we close, can you join with me? Father, I just thank you for this day. I thank you that this is a day that you have made. I thank you that we are here. And I thank you that the Kawamis are here worshiping you. Because the scenario would have been so different. Father, I mean, I saw justice this morning and I wouldn't even thought anything happened. Thank you for your grace. Thank you for your mercy. Thank you for your angels. Watch out for us and protect us. And Lord, I just want to pray a release, an activation of angels to protect, to minister, to direct over all of your people here. Father, I thank you that your word says that they are sent by you to serve those who are called to salvation. And so, Father, thank you for that. Lord, thank you for your protection over justice. Thank you for your protection over my friend Johan. Thank you for how you protect us, even maybe when we're unaware. Thank you that you love us so much. So, Lord, may we, in the days to come, recognize your servants, recognize angels. Lord, I pray that, like Elisha did, that we would be able to see, have eyes to see, ears to hear, hearts to perceive your servants that are sent by you to minister and watch over us. And so, Father, I just thank you again for your angels. I thank you for your love for us. And I just pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Well, God bless you, folks. Don't forget Harvest Fair. this week. Wednesday is set up. Thursday, we need your help. More candy if you guys can. All right, God bless you. Oh, by the way, if you need prayer, come on up front and we'll be glad to pray for you.